This isn't always the case with the Little Miss counterparts, but I feel like Little Miss Sunshine is very similar to Mr. Happy. This is actually the fourth Little Miss book, and Mr. Happy is all about finding a character who is unhappy and making him happy again. And this is kind of what we get here, although admittedly with a slightly more detailed narrative. So it starts off with Little Miss Sunshine having a nice day out, and she happens upon this king. And this is the king of Miseryland. And everybody in Miseryland is miserable. And she takes it upon herself to first of all find out why everybody is miserable and why they're not allowed to laugh or giggle or chuckle. And she thinks this is absolutely ludicrous. Of course she does. And she realizes that with a simple change of the wording on the sign as you enter Miseryland, she can make the residents actually much happier. And it's such a simple little change, and they love to laugh and love to be happy. The message here isn't as clear as it is in some Mr. Men and Little Miss books, because it's difficult to just say, well, change your attitude and be happy, because that's very difficult. And you can't expect anybody to do that. And I feel like with Mr. Happy, I'm not going to do a direct comparison, but with Mr. Happy, the message was maybe try and think yourself happy, and sometimes that can take away some of the darkness. This one, it's not as easy, and the message isn't as clear. Obviously, the message is that maybe you're being miserable or unhappy for the sake of it, which is what was happening in Miseryland. They were all being happy because that was the order of the day. And she said, well, it doesn't need to be like that. And I like the fact that it's suggesting that you may be unhappy, but you don't need to be unhappy. So it's thought-provoking, but it's not as strong as a lot of Mr. Men and Little Miss books, but nevertheless, I feel like the character is very well loved. I do like the design of her. I think she looks very good. Not a personal favourite, but definitely seems to be very popular, and I can see why.